As we were flying over the region, we did see people crossing the border illegally.
Governor Abbott confirms through eyewitness that we have no southern border.
I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Arnor.
Governor Abbott actually calls the southern border in crisis. Usually it's bad, but now it is beyond bad. It's out of control.
And making their way across the river onto the Texas side of the border. Let me begin by making one point very clear. There is a crisis on the Texas border right now with the overwhelming number of people who are coming across the border. This crisis is a result of President Biden's open border policies. It invites illegal immigration and is creating a humanitarian crisis in Texas right now that will grow increasingly worse by the day. In getting information in my meeting with the Border Patrol, I learned these things. And that is one of the reasons for this crisis that has led to a dramatic change in just a few months is the change in policy. There was a policy that people who had come across the border illegally would be returned across the border. And there was also the Remain in Mexico policy. With the elimination of those policies, that led to a dramatic increase in the number of people coming across the border. Second, the Border Patrol told me that they did inform the Biden administration and let them know that this influx was coming. So it's not as if the Biden administration didn't know about it, and it's not as if they didn't have time to get prepared for it, but it is clear they are completely unprepared for what is going on the border now, and they're going to be even more unprepared for what will be happening in the coming months.
So the Biden administration knew about this. It was obvious they knew about this. In fact, we all knew about this. The difference is the Biden administration actually took steps to make it worse, because all of the tiers that they claim of what's happening in detention facilities and kids being separated from their parents, and kids are being sent up to the border right now without their parents. All of those tiers are fake. All of the liberal, salty tiers are fake. It's done pure. This is kabuki theater purely to manipulate you into thinking that they want to do something about this when really they caused it.
What the Border Patrol told me, and this is actually part of the cartel strategy, because of the volume of people coming across the border, the Border Patrol that makes the arrest, they have to engage quite literally in babysitting. And while they're doing babysitting, that provides an opportunity for the cartels to be able to bring other people across the border illegally.
Well, the good news is that the Biden administration is reaching out in diplomacy and creating new partnerships and new relationships and new alliances with Mexican drug cartels and human trafficking.
Just this calendar year alone, there have been more than 800 criminal aliens apprehended. Those were criminals, violent criminals, who had been previously arrested in the United States and deported, who came across the border again. Among those included 78 sex offenders,
Biden,
and 62 gang members, including gang members from MS-13. And know this, cartels, they are ramping up trafficking across the border. They're exploiting women and children, and they are overwhelming Border Patrol resources.
So long as it's not committed by Trump. If it's committed by Biden, it is a good crime. They love it. They love the uptick in human trafficking and the hardcore gang members. This is what their whole campaign is about. They see potential voters coming.
The Border Patrol has made very clear to me the way this strategy works. The cartels, they are involved in every single one of these border crossings that we see. But more important, the cartels are even more involved in the crossings that we do not see. The strategy of the cartels is to overwhelm Border Patrol agents and law enforcement officials. And when the Border Patrol agents are so completely overwhelmed, It's during those moments that the cartels will bring across the border even the more dangerous elements. It could be people who are violent criminals, or it could be people who are from what are called special interest countries. Those are countries that are raise concerns about the danger they may pose to the United States, such as people coming from countries like Iran and Iraq, China, as well as elsewhere. The cartels are quite literally being enriched because of the policies that are being used by the Biden administration. The Biden administration is helping the cartels make more money and grow more power. They are allowing smugglers who are members of the cartel on the Mexican side bring in narcotic smugglers, special interest aliens, as well as drugs that include fentanyl, cocaine, and opioids.
Oh yeah, the Democrats love them drugs coming over. You know who else likes drugs? Libertarians. Here's where the libertarians on the right are also need to be kicked out of the Republican Party. These are pro-drug scumbags that want everyone hooked on drugs. So this is where the libertarians need to be called out right along with their socialist brothers and communist brothers, the Democrats.
We need more ICE detention facilities in this area immediately.
Yes, Abbott is asking for more ICE facilities, even while the Democrats shout to defund ICE.
But the Border Patrol simply is not either given enough resources and do not have enough resources to be able to deal with this overwhelming tidal wave of people who are coming across the border. Border Patrol has a role to play. The role that Border Patrol plays is they're the ones who have to make the arrest and make the detention. Then the responsibility goes to ICE. It is up to ICE to detain, to test, and to quarantine anybody who's coming across the border who may have exposure to COVID. The Biden administration does not want to talk about ICE. The Biden administration is joining together with progressives, pretending that ICE is going to go away or be eliminated. ICE is essential in this entire process, and we expect the president and the Biden administration to step up, fully fund, and actually add additional funding to the ICE program, as well as provide ICE with every tool and strategy they can provide them to make sure that they're going to be able to play the role they must play when people do come across the border. Because what I'm about to tell you is maybe one of the most reprehensible things I've heard this whole time. The Biden administration is not providing vaccinations for the Border Patrol. We have Border Patrol officers whose lives are on the line on a daily basis and hourly basis. And the Biden administration will not step up and provide those Border Patrol officers with the vaccinations they need. The Biden administration should surge vaccines to Texas, to all men and women on the Border Patrol this week, and ensure that every Border Patrol officer in the state of Texas will be vaccinated this week. Anything less than that is the epitome of inhumanity.
I'm Doug TenNapel in Exile.